Here. Slater?
Here.
Quorum present. The item for this meeting is a request from Macy's Department Store to conduct a fireworks display. Apparently they didn't look at their schedule, they didn't get their paperwork in on time, and so we're going to help them out with having this special meeting because it must be approved by City Council, not by management. So did anybody have any questions? I see there's a report here with all the data.
One comment.
Yes, Mr. Zerler?
Santa Claus would be appreciative if you could pass this resolution.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So they start with November 5th with Santa Claus instead of waiting till Thanksgiving.
Used to be Thanksgiving.
Yes. Notice it's not before Halloween. Okay, someone want to move this resolution?
Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Kerwin?
Resolved, the Troy City Council hereby issues a fireworks permit to Zambelli Fireworks Manufacturing Company of Newcastle, Pennsylvania, for Macy's Department Store located at Oakland Mall, 500 West 14 Mile Road, Troy, Michigan, to conduct a fireworks display on Friday, November 5th, 2010, and be it further resolved, the Troy City Council hereby directs the Fire Prevention Division to inspect the fireworks to be used along with the site to assure compliance with applicable codes and standards for such a fireworks display.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kerwin, seconded by Councilman Howrlack, that we approve the resolution as printed and read. Discussion? The vote, Mrs. Bartholomew?
Mayor Schilling?
Yes?
Councilor Beltramini?
Yes.
Fleming?
Yes.
Howrlack?
Yes.
Kerwin?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Slater?
Motion passes. Because this is a special meeting, we have public comment at the end of the agenda, and so I will call on any members of the public if they wish to make any comment at this time. The rules of procedure state that it can be on the agenda item or any other item if they wish. James Guy? Would you come to the microphone, please?
I'm going to address Mr. Howrlack's latest letter to Dear Neighbor. I find it absolutely reprehensible. The ink is hardly dry where he signed the council code of ethics and he's already abused it. I'd like to ask Mr. Howrlack why he wants to keep the residents of Troy from enjoying the benefits of their own library. He's supposed to be representing us. The City Council on May 10th voted to close the library, eliminating it from future budgets. Therefore, Proposal 1 was placed on the ballot in order to save the library and take it back to its 2009 operating level. 2009's funding for operating and additional funds for future capital and emergency needs were taken into account and included in the requested .9885 mils. Mr. Howrlack's letter is filled with lies and innuendos. Only one proposal will pass, whichever one has the greatest number of yeses, this according to the city attorney. Therefore, only one will raise $4.2 million and no greater amount for 10 years as it cannot exceed the amount approved by the voters. As for the independent library needing a new building, City Council has already said we will wait to see what the voters decide and then make the decision about the building and its contents. Nobody's being taxed twice for anything. The people have already paid for the building. Mr. Howrlack talks about a library district. There is no district. The library will be sited, look, and act no different than the library we all love. Our Troy Library of today. It will simply be governed by an independent library board, ensuring accountability and transparency. Excuse me. Encouraging voters to sign the library initiative petition is really a miscarriage of truth, since that petition is a perfect example of an unfunded mandate. Mr. Howrlack's letter is just another deception in a long line of deceptions meant to misinform and perpetrated against the residents of this community.
Anyone else? Yes, Lady Clymer? Good afternoon.
I too am here to express my disgust at the recent letter that was mailed to Troy citizens by Councilmember Martin Hawryluk. While he sits here chuckling, let us remember, this is not the first time this has happened. It happened during the February election as well. In his letter to the citizens, he claims voting for Proposal 1 would duplicate something that already exists and desire to do so with a significantly higher operating cost structure while also increasing your property tax rate. How can you duplicate a budget for the library that does not exist? This is not a mistruth. It is an outright lie. Another statement says any new library district will need to find a building, buy books, etc., insinuating there's additional monies that will be needed. This is just another way of misguiding the citizens to defeat the proposal. This was discussed many times after the public comment session of council meetings, and I know he was physically there for some of them. Mr. Hawryluk says it takes the vision and leadership of a hardworking city council and city manager to make tough budgetary decisions to ensure the continued operation of all functions of the city. It's what we've been elected to do. I agree with that. However, it also takes educating the public on why decisions are made and the true consequences of those decisions. This letter is laced with mistruths and misleads the community in its effort to defeat Proposal 1. He fails to mention that there will still be costs associated with keeping the library open if his so-called library protection ordinance passes. And there's currently no money to support the costs. This will drive another special election, which he complained about when the millage was put on the ballot, and could end up with a couple of shelves of books available for 55 hours a week. We all know that all of the reallocations in the budget that can be made have been made. It's interesting to note that the people who are of the same mindset as Mr. Hawryluk have come before City Council week after week with the same rhetoric because they fail to remain to hear the Council explain the misquoted statements made by the public, and they further fail to do their homework, or rather don't want to be informed, just want to control. They blame the city of using the library as a pawn when in essence it is they who began this game of threats. They think they have all the answers when in truth it was the former council, of which Martin Hawryluk and Wade Fleming were a part, that has brought this city to where it currently is with their misguided leadership, and I use that term loosely. For Mr. Hawryluk to allude to being a leader and spread such info as to cloud the issue is, in my mind, unethical and reprehensible. I previously brought up this issue of the city being divided and how two members of council, having been linked to the questionable tactics of what could be considered the dark side of this city, that they had the opportunity to set the record straight, do the right thing, and start to mend the divide. I guess that's not what's important. I guess it's all about control, at least to Mr. Hawryluk. I hope that this city council will take whatever means necessary to correct this behavior so we can come back to being the real, true city of Troy. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in public comment? The meeting then is adjourned. Now before we leave the table, I'd like to inform council that I'm going to call for a special meeting of the City Council for Monday at 10 a.m. I have with me the Troy City Council Code of Ethics that we all signed 2 weeks ago. However, I have also with me the letter that Martin Hawryluk sent out, and if anyone doesn't have a copy, I'd be happy to provide them with a copy. I find that the letter is filled with deception and deceit and trickery, which is the deception of fraud. And that is, by Webster's Dictionary, an intentional perversion of truth to induce another to part with some valuable thing belonging to him or her, or to surrender a legal right. Martin's standard does not meet our standard of ethics. If Mr. Zerlake were to send out such a letter filled with the lies that are in there, he'd be fired. I think our standard it's up to this council to determine if we want to censure our council member, Councilman Hawryluk, or how we want to proceed. And the only way we can have a discussion about that is if we hold a special meeting. So I'm going to be signing the paper today to call the meeting for Monday at 10 a.m.
Fair?
Councilman Howard?
Two things. One, if we're talking about being ethical, then per our rules of procedure, we're not even allowed to discuss things that aren't on the agenda. So what you just did is technically unethical.
The meeting was adjourned, sir.
Well, actually, it hasn't been. Otherwise, we'd be getting up to this table. The other thing too is that mind you that you take something that's been put on paper and then you extrapolate beyond what is on that paper. And finally, I should remind you also that we as public officials have an obligation to consult with our constituents. And you may disagree with me on something, but that doesn't make you unethical.
Council, you'll be receiving the information about the special meeting.
Laura?
You want the letter? Okay.
Laura?